Rebecca Coleman, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple brunch dish. Now, I love this dish because it's really simple to make. It only has a few simple ingredients, and you get to make it the night before and leave it in the fridge, and then in the morning you can just get up, throw it in the oven, and bam, you have brunch. It kind of makes you look like a rock star in the kitchen, even if you're not the most amazing cook ever. So, a couple things about this dish. First of all, for this dish, I'm using gluten-free bread. Now, a lot of my friends are gluten-free. I'm not personally, but a lot of my friends are. And so, when I have friends over, I really like to cook gluten-free to sort of I don't know, it's just because then everybody can eat everything, as opposed to saying, hey, you can eat this thing and you can't eat that thing. This is a really great gluten-free bread. The challenge with gluten-free baking is that you can't just take rice flour, for example, and substitute it cup for cup for regular flour. It just doesn't work that way. Baking and making bread gluten-free is a really kind of complicated process. I've tried to do it a few times, and I haven't actually been very successful. So what you can do is you can just go to the store and buy a gluten-free bread similar to this. This is a local company called Rudy's Gluten Free. And the thing that's great about this is that even when you make this dish, your friends who are gluten-free will enjoy it, and your friends who are not gluten-free will also enjoy it. Because they won't, if you don't tell anybody that it's gluten-free, there's not going to have any way of knowing. This tastes like regular bread. It's not chalky, it's not really dry. It just tastes like regular bread, which is what you want in bread, right? Am I right or am I right? Okay, so this is what goes in the dish. Bread, I'm gonna half this recipe because I'm just making it for my son and I. So this recipe that I'm making right now will make enough for about 4. You can double it to make it for about 8. 12 slices of bread go in the big recipe. I'm gonna use 6. We're going to use some eggs. I'm going to use 3, but 6 in the large recipe. Some cheese grated. This is just cheese that I had kicking around. It's an aged cheddar, and also there's some marble in there as well, just grated up together. Now, if you want to do some kind of a meat in there, I don't eat a lot of meat. Ham would be delicious in this dish. If you had some ham and just diced it up into little pieces, it would be so good in this. I'm using shrimp. I just happen to have some frozen prawns in my fridge. I just peeled them, sauteed them really quickly in some butter on my stove, and I have these. You could also just go to the store and pick up what are called salad shrimp. They're really quite small, little tiny shrimp, and they're usually pre-cooked. And you can just buy a tray of them in the seafood department or in the meat department at your grocery store. Milk, salt and pepper. Okay, so I'm going to start by taking the bread. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the crusts off, and then I'm going to cube up the bread into slices, or into squares. So, I have a crust there, I don't want that. Again, I'm going to use 6 slices of bread for my version of this. If you're doubling it, you'll want to use 12, because that's how math works. You can find this bread in your freezer section. By which I mean the freezer section of your grocery store, not actually in your freezer. Although when you bring it home, you may want to put it in your... Okay, so 6 slices of bread, cubed up, ready to go. Okay, so just to kind of kick this up another notch, I'm actually going to add a little bit of melted butter to my bread cubes. So I just have a bit of butter in here that I've melted in the microwave, or you could do it on top of the stove, and I'm just going to add that to my bread cubes. And then I'm just going to give them a quick toss. And that's just going to make them a little bit more awesome, because butter makes everything better, right? Okay, now let's get going. So, what I have here is a small casserole dish. Now, if you have, again, if you're making the double recipe, you're going to want to use a larger casserole dish. This is quite a small one. This will make exactly 4 portions for me. What you're going to do is you're going to start by putting a layer of breadcrumbs, or your bread that you've just portioned up, and just put that right down in the bottom, just like that, okay? And then what we're going to do next is we're going to do a layer of cheese. See, it just makes me happy to say that. A layer of cheese. Okay, so I'm putting a layer of cheese in on there. Next up, we're going to put in some of our shrimp. I'm just going to do a really quick rough chop on these because they're a bit big. So I'm just going to really quickly do a really quick chop on those. Pick those up and sprinkle those on top. Oh yeah. Next, a layer of bread on top of there, like that. Just to sort of cover it up. Another layer of cheese. And some more of my shrimp. You're probably going to do 2 layers here. If you have more, you could certainly do 3 layers. I'm doing about 2 layers on this. And I'm just going to throw those leftover breadcrumbs right on top. I got a tiny little bit of cheese left. Just going to sprinkle that right on top. And now we're ready to make the egg custard. Okay, so now we're going to make the custard. In a bowl, what you want to put are, again, depending on how big of a recipe you're making, you can do 3 eggs for this version that I'm making, which is the smaller version. Or you can do 6 eggs if you're doing a larger version. To your eggs in your bowl. Hang on one sec, I have to wash my hands. To your 3 eggs in your bowl, you want to add 1.5 cups of milk, or that's 3 cups of milk if you're doubling the recipe. And just like whip that baby up, right? Real simple. Now you're going to want to season your custard with salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. How hard is that? Come on, salt and pepper. There we go. Some salt in there. I'm just using some regular sea salt and some freshly ground pepper. Great. Just going to whip that up till it's nice and smooth. Everything's incorporated. The milk and the eggs are all incorporated together. Now comes the difficult part. That's it. You're done. I'm going to put the lid on this. I'm going to put it in the fridge, and in the morning I'm going to bake it, and I'm going to have an amazing, delicious, gluten-free breakfast casserole.